Blessings to the head table and everybody else. This morning I'm doing one verse in another song and the full song in the second song. Okay. Thank you.
Long time since I've heard that kind of harmonica playing. What about you? Yeah, you liked it? Okay, let's give them a round of applause. The next speaker is going to do the feature address. He is representing Dr. Fuad Khan from the Ministry of Health. His name is Dr. Helmer Hillwig. I have known Dr. Hillwig for many, many years. He's originally from the Netherlands and has worked in all major hospitals of this country over the last 20 years, and as head in adult emergency department at Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex. At present, he's on a short stint at the Arima Health Facility at Arima. I met Dr. Hellwig once when I was doing some work with the Northwest Regional Health Authority with some emergency. I think we had some dignitary coming from abroad, and he was the person who was in charge of ensuring that this person was safe. So, Dr. Hillwig, could you come, please?
My name is Dr. Hillwig, and I'm originally from Holland. I came here 33 years ago. I wanted to stay for 1 year. I'm still here. Can't find the ticket. And I will go back when I'm fed up, but I'm not fed up yet. I'm in the first place extremely honored by a few things. First, the beautiful musical interlude to set this nice nostalgic tone. I'm very honored to be on the head table also with our Excellency Mrs. Cremona, because her husband has a very special relation with Holland too. But that is more for the insiders. Even better. Good. Of course, I want to recognize Mr. Hussein and Mr. Carlton and our representative. Good. So, I'm bringing in the first place greetings on behalf of the minister. And unfortunately, he could not be here. And for some kind of reason, he has chosen me to represent him. And that might be due to the fact that I think that because self-management and empowerment are very important issues for me. And recently we had some discussions about that too. You all know the extremely tragic death of some young ladies who had a cesarean section. And I wondered and pondered together with the ministry, is this patient properly counseled when she left the hospital that you have a 40% more chance to get a pulmonary embolism? Is it explained to the patient that what are the danger signs, where you have to look for? I felt so sorry for the husband who thinks from, yeah, she has cesarean section, it's pain. Of course, that is part of the cesarean section. That is why perhaps he didn't read the danger signs. So you wonder why, is this patient properly counseled? Is he counseled at the moment that she's not still groggy from the operation? Is she counseled together with her husband so that at least that man understands what is happening? In very important issues. And by the way, I just want to recognize also my very dear colleague, esteemed colleague in the audience, Dr. Rhodes was also over here, and I'm sure agrees with me about a lot of things when we're talking about self-management and empowerment. Good, so I came to Trinidad, and of course I had my Dutch education over here. And one of the first things that struck me from doctors are really high up the pedestal over here. You really got a lot of admiration. And I mean, Doc was good or something like that. I was hardly questions about what I say. I was hardly, if I explain something, people were a little bit surprised. If I draw out an operation I want to do, they were even more surprised. And then started to dawn on you that, just what you say, and I somewhere have to blame not so much the doctors, I have to blame the patients, because the patients should not have taken it. You get a patient and you say, you ever had an operation before? Yeah, doc. And they show me their things, and they show me here a nice oblique scar. I think that might be a gallbladder, but they just show me a scar. And they say, yeah, what was operated on? Huh? I don't know, doc. You didn't ask? No. Didn't they explain? No. But I feel much better, doc. And then you think to yourself, but how can you be cut open and whatever, and then you don't even know what was found inside or whatever? No, I feel better. The amount of patients you get, and you say, do you use any medication? Yeah, doctor, little white ones. And they say, yeah, but what is for what? I don't know, but I think it's for gas, but I feel better. And then you say, yeah, but listen, is tonight on television, there is mentioned that there was a mistake in the production of enalapril and all these medications taken off the market immediately. How do you know if you use it? Yeah. How long are you using it? Now, yeah, already a few years. But you know the name of your children. Why don't you know the name of your tablet? If the tablet has to stay for the rest of your life, your child to stay for the rest of your life, you don't want to know the name? Doctors also to blame, you know, especially when they come from private doctors and they get some medical samples, and they come with this little, very nice, they bring the tablets, so they come with a nice plastic transparent bag, and there's written, by pain, take 2. So I have to argue now with the patient, why are you let yourself be treated like an idiot? Yeah? You have to insist. It's your right. In fact, it is a serious offense if you don't do it. The amount of times I had to call doctors, or even call the pharmacological society from, this is, yeah, my doc, they don't know. So by definition, there is already that kind of thing, the difference. The doctor knows best, just do what I say. Yeah? I'm going to cut you. Yeah, what you're going to cut doesn't matter. I know that is better for you. And that attitude has to change. It is so nice if from time to time you get the same Trini, yeah, who has spent some time in New York or whatever and comes back with a little Yankee accent. And then, how do you call it? he can explain everything about what the ultrasound was and what the histology was from the operation and what was the medication they used and how it changed and whatever. And it is not that that trainee is so much smarter than the trainee over here, and it is not so much that the doctors over there are so much better than over here or so much nicer. Nee, the doctors, especially in the United States, they know very well if you don't explain the side effects or whatever, you get litigated. Yeah? That costs you a few $1 million. So therefore, luckily for us, we don't have so much litigation in Trinidad yet, but and what's also the thing is, doctors will not change so fast. It is the patient who has to demand the change. Because if the doctor has a nice patient, they ask, any question? No, and no question. Then they go. But if the patient starts to ask questions, that is the moment that we have to. You know, people have ever had an operation over here, you know that famous consent form what you have to sign? Yeah? Now that consent form says very clearly that I as a doctor have explained to you every detail from the operation. I have explained to you alternatives, yeah, and that you agree to do this operation. Now, 90% of the people just sign it, because doctor knows best. Now, that hasn't changed because his whole program is about self-empowerment, self-management. Yeah? Because we have noticed that diabetes, and you know, if you look at the beautiful website of the Diabetic Association, I was a little bit amazed that some members of diabetes didn't even know that it had a website. And the nice thing of the website is also it relates to, it has a link to the International Diabetic Association. An even more beautiful website with fantastic information. And therefore, everybody who has a diabetes should look at the website on a regular basis, because it is all about you. And then, of course, you have people who have no experience in websites, or that's too complicated and whatever. Okay, we have now computers by the little children from grade 1 already. So why not ask your little cousin or your little grandchild or whatever to look on the website and inform you? Yeah? So you get already a support system there too. But good. So the problem is that diabetes, as we know in Trinidad, is about 10%. 136, I saw on the same website, 136,000 people in Trinidad suffer from diabetes. And if we look at the legal amount of inhabitants of Trinidad, it is 1.3 million, so that's about 10%. Now there's plenty. There is an enormous development in diabetes, in medication, in new approaches and whatever. And still far too much. Legs are cut, vision is lost, kidneys are mashed up, and we don't have enough kidney machines for all of that and whatever. And that has to do with the fact that although we know so much, and we doctors are the experts of diabetes, that for some kind of reason that is not translated in an improvement in the outcome. And why is that? Because we as doctors behave, we know best. Yeah? Take this 3 times a day. Yeah? But we don't know, for example, that, you're too fat. Yeah? Go and do some exercise. Yes, doctor, yes, doctor, yes. But we don't know that the patient has, let's say, claudication, so that as soon as you do 5 steps, you start to get pain in your leg already. Yeah? We might not know that patient is a flight attendant who has to fly on a regular basis to London and back or whatever, completely disturbing your hormonal balance. We don't know that the patient is perhaps a shift worker. Yeah? We don't know if the patient is perhaps somebody who tries to hide that he's diabetes and don't want to go in the middle of his workplace. Oh, you have to give yourself an injection. Bam. Yeah? Perhaps you want to hide, perhaps you want to deny it, or whatever. So what we not take in consideration, we as doctors sign up a beautiful program, and if you stick to that, that's it, but we don't take in consideration if the patient can do that or understands it, or does it fit in his education, does it fit in his cultural pattern, does it fit in his daily life. And therefore that new concept has developed, that it is not I'm treating you, we are treating you. Yeah? So it should be, if you're very conscious and nicely, and you take your blood sugars on a regular basis, whatever, and you see it is off, and your next appointment is for 3 months from now, that you say, no, it's off. So you go back to the health center, you knock on the door of the doctor, and you say, Doc, we don't have it in order. We don't have it in order. Let's do something. Let us do something about it. Yeah? But you don't sit and wait there quietly while in the meantime going off and off and off and off and off. So therefore, and that is what you call then self-empowerment. Now, I coincidentally found on the internet a beautiful definition of that. Empowerment, that is a patient-centered, collaborative approach tailored to match the fundamental realities of diabetes care. Patient empowerment is defined as helping patients discover and develop the inherent capacity to be responsible for one's own life. Yeah? Health professionals are experts in diabetes care. Patients are the experts in their own lives. This approach recognizes that knowing about an illness is not as knowing about a person's life. And that by default, patients are the primary decision makers in control of the daily self-management of their diabetes. Empowerment is not a technique or a strategy, but a vision that guides each other encounter with our patients and require that both professionals and patients adopt new roles. The role of the patient is to be well-informed, active partners or collaborators in their own care. The role of the healthcare professional is to help patients make informed decisions to achieve their goals. Diabetes care then becomes a collaboration between equals, professionals bringing knowledge and expertise about diabetes and its treatment, and the patients bringing expertise on their own life, what will work for them. To effectively implement this approach, patients need education designed to promote informed decision-making and provide need to practice the ways that support patient effort to become effective self-managers. And therefore, it is also so important because, in principle, since I'm here, these kind of associations have developed. It is 1988 that the Diabetic Association was formed in Trinidad. That's correct? Yeah. Good. Yeah? I came here in 1983. It was not there yet. Now, these, you can't believe the influence what this kind of focus groups, this kind of associations have and can have, is we all embrace the opportunity that we have it in Trinidad. So, in fact, every diabetic should be part of the Diabetic Association. Yeah? Much more an informed self-manager of its own disease. Where I was going now? Okay. So therefore, it is absolutely imperative that every patient becomes an expert. Do you know what is a normal fasting blood sugar? Do you know what is a blood sugar who is out of control? Yeah? Do you know the level of your glycosylated HB? Do you know how often you have to do that? Do you know how often you have to go to the ophthalmologist to have a little look in your eye where they put in the drops to open up the things so they can see? How often you have to check your urine for a little bit of protein in it? All these things, you should almost come to me as a doctor and say, Doc, last time I went for a vision tech, that was more than 2 years ago. Oh, wow. Scandalous. Yeah? Not wait till the doctor says, I think it's time for, you know already your schedule. Yeah? Very important also, what we a lot forget. We want to have such beautiful figures. People are well, nice controlled. But the nicer you are controlled, the more chances that you get a hypoglycemic attack. Yeah? That you know the dangers of these things. What are the danger signs, the red flags that is coming? What you're going to do about it? Does your surrounding knows about it, if it happens to you? And what to do about it? Yeah? You have to become an expert. You should almost know more about the latest diabetes than Dr. Roach when you come in our office. Yeah? Doc, I just read on the website that blah, 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 blah. And we're going in a further direction, because we're talking about e-health, but you have now also m-health, mobile health. Yeah? Because so far there's one application what is approved by the FDA. FDA is the American Food and Drug Administration. And that is that now, and that's of course more for the younger ones under us, but we have children also who are very good in all kind of gadgets and fancy plays on the iPhone. But the same iPhone can give you also a fantastic program which guides you also about how much calories something is, what is your blood sugar when it's time to check again, or whatever. It's a whole management tool. Yeah? That is the latest, and you call that m-health, mobile health. Yeah? And it's especially for the younger of us, this is a very important issue. But good. Let me not make it too long. What I want to say is, in the first place, Trinidad, yeah? In Trinidad you have no excuse not to be on the ball. Yeah? You have here free medication. You have here free glucometers. Very few countries have that, eh? Not in Great Britain. Yeah? In Holland you have to pay the first €200 yourself. Yeah? You have your free syringes, you have your free medication, you have your free glycosylated HB screenings, test. Yeah? And you have a lifestyle clinic in almost every single health center corner of Trinidad. There are something like 106 health centers in Trinidad. So that is a fantastic infrastructure. And I must say, I have to give a compliment to the ministry also, that there was a vision. Because, kijk, if there is no financial barrier, you have no excuse anymore not to be in order. Yeah? Then you have fantastic organizations like the Diabetic Association. So everybody should be part of that too. Yeah? And then you have doctors who you have to educate. Some doctors are still very stubborn. They know best. No questions asked. If you ask questions, you are a difficult patient. Then go to another doctor. Go to Dr. Roach. Yeah? She will listen. So it is very important that you also choose, because if you have to make a team, yeah, it might be, if you have a football team, it might be somebody's a very well football player, but he doesn't fit in the team. Yeah? Now, so if you want to make a team with a doctor and the doctor annoys you and there's no relation, then it will never be a good team. Then choose another doctor. There are plenty. Yeah? So therefore it is really up on you to have the diabetes in order and to be self-managers, to be experts. Yeah? And you can get fantastic help with organizations like this and with symposia like these. And especially symposia who don't deal with old-fashioned, long time ago issues. They deal today with self-management of diabetes. That is a very hot, very actual, very innovative, very up-to-date topic. So I'm extremely pleased that I was able to give a few of my thoughts. And over here, and I'm sure it's backed up by the minister just as well, because we are on the same level when it comes to self-empowerment. Yeah? It's in your hands. And you are blessed to live in Trinidad, because if you would live in another country, you would not have all the tools. There would be all kind of financial barriers. Think about the millions of the United Americans, yeah, who are also diabetics. Yeah? They only can go to a hospital when they're so sick that they have to go to an emergency hospital, because they cannot afford. They cannot buy. Yeah? So you're very blessed to live in Trinidad, where for years there was a vision to have health centers in every crook and nanny of Trinidad, have a health center. Every crook and nanny, all kind of things are happening. Lifestyle clinics. And in fact, you should have, I don't know if in Trinidad, do we have a high blood pressure clinic, association Trinidad? But high blood pressure is also something where you should become your own manager. Yeah? And never come anywhere, doc, I take the little white tablet. Yeah? You know the name. And you say this NRP is not working for me, doc. Because I check it every day. Everybody who has high blood pressure should have a self-monitor. Everybody with diabetes should have a glucometer. And once again, in Trinidad, you have no excuse. If you were living in the United States, you would have an excuse. If you live in Hong Kong, also physical accounting, you have to pay for 3/4 of these things. In Trinidad, you don't have. So no excuse. And you have the Diabetic Association to guide you further in self-management of diabetes. It's easier than you think. Thank you.
Could I have a round of applause for Dr. Hilway? That was such a motivational lecture. And if I asked you now, what did you get out of it? I would like to hear 2 words. And I am going to say those 2 words, and I want you to repeat it after me. With gusto. Gusto. And those 2 words are self-empowerment. I said repeat it. Louder. Louder. Beautiful. And that is what Dr. Hilway spoke to you about this morning. To have that empowerment. And I'm speaking to a special lady who has a little challenge this morning. And I hope that she is really listening so that she can empower herself to make the choices that are necessary so that she will change around this diabetes. I call it a spiral, this diabetes spiral that she is experiencing at this time. So let's have another round of applause for Dr. Hilway. Self-management and diabetes, it's easier than you think. I could go in to tell you all about the health services that we have available in this country. I can tell you a whole host of things, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but throughout the Caribbean, and what the International Diabetes Federation has been doing with us, as partnering with us, to ensure that the people of Trinidad and Tobago, those who are living with diabetes and those who are at risk of getting diabetes, be able to manage themselves. But I am sure with those 2 words that you got this morning, you're going to find that out for yourself. Self-empowerment. Huh? Yes? Okay. The Diabetes Association, because we want to have that kind of influence on people to change attitudes where their health is concerned, and to have someone out front who can guide us, who will motivate us into doing so. We have, 2 years ago, the president's wife, Mrs. Rima Kamuna, she is our patron, and she has been the one who has been very instrumental in guiding the association to a higher level. And we now have the official opening by Her Excellency, Mrs. Rima Kamuna. Could you come, please?
Okay. Representative of the Honorable Kazim Hussein, Mayor of San Fernando, Councillor Montano, Dr. Helma Hilwig, Representative from the Ministry of Health, Mr. Carlton Phillip, President of the Diabetes Association of Trinidad and Tobago, Ms. Bernadette Giuseppe, Master of Ceremonies, facilitators, specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. The pleasure is mine, as patron of the Diabetes Association of Trinidad and Tobago, DATT, to be here at the 24th Annual Symposium entitled Self-Management of Diabetes. It is easier than you think. In simple language, a clarion call for personal responsibility in health through affirmative choices. A crisis looms as this republic has the highest incidence of diabetes in the Western Hemisphere, where 1 in 5 adults is a diabetic. It is a global concern, as the World Health Organization estimates that by the year 2030, over 500 million people would be diagnosed with this condition. Non-communicable diseases, of which diabetes is one, are the leading causes of morbidity and premature death in Trinidad and Tobago. Over 60% of deaths in the country are attributable to NCDs, and 1/3 of all NCD deaths are deaths that are premature deaths, representing an enormous threat to social and economic development. Diabetes is the second highest cause of death in this country, just after heart disease. Yes, a grim and timely reminder of how this condition is devastating our beloved country. We must therefore lock arms together and play our part in assisting the Diabetes Association with its mission, and I quote, promoting health in people with diabetes and preventing or at least delaying the onset of diabetes in those at risk through education, research, and advocacy. As patron and as an active advocate for healthy living, I am willing to extend all courtesies to the executive of the Diabetes Association to effectively and holistically carry out this laudable mission. The Diabetes Association is vibrant with some 20 branches operating throughout Trinidad and Tobago, and I want to take this opportunity to further encourage all chairpersons and their executives to continue their selfless work. Your tireless volunteerism and work are not in vain. Diabetic or not, we must support the work of the association by fostering an informed, educated Trinidad and Tobago on the ravages of this crippling, non-communicable disease. We must therefore translate awareness into action. The building block of such action begins with our immediate families and our children. When we go to the supermarkets, labels should be read and noted. And if there are no labels, do not buy. We need to know how much sugar is hiding in that food item. We must therefore set the benchmark by the exercise of intelligent choices. We must carefully examine the sugar content and glycemic index on products we intend to purchase. For example, check the labels on cereals, yogurt, and soft drinks, which are prime consumable products. Remember that in all these sugar-infused snacks and drinks, 4 grams is equal to 1 teaspoon of sugar. Our responsibility does not stop there. As I have indicated previously, and I have to harp on it, the health revolution we seek begins in the kitchen of every home. We must ensure that our children's lunch kits are packed with healthy, tasty foods. For example, home-cooked meals must not have MSG or products deleterious to your child's health. In my interaction and tete-a-tete with school children, do you know they actually complain that they do not get enough home-cooked meals? This may go a long way in alleviating some of the many challenges faced by our educators. Foods sold in school cafeterias must be monitored and controlled where sugar levels are concerned. After all, teachers complain about children who are uncontrollably hyper, and sometimes it has to do with their diet and high sugar levels in the foods they consume. In other words, through healthy eating and by nurturing their taste buds from young to eat the right things, you can create, as I would say, the lean, mean, healthy machine. Instead of putting sodas in the lunch kit, put a bottle of water. There is a worrying trend in the statistical rise of child obesity in Trinidad and Tobago. In this technological age, it is easy to fall into a sedentary rut. Exercise must form an integral part of our daily routine. Just as we adults encourage each other to do at least 30 minutes of exercise daily, we must do the same for our children. We must ensure that our children are active and engage in an activity that they like and enjoy, not what we like and enjoy. Simply put, if a child genuinely likes and enjoys a particular sport, that sport would aid in helping that child and take him or her into healthy adulthood. Another challenge pertinent to the realization of a healthy lifestyle in Trinidad and Tobago is the amount of food we eat, what I will coin as food quantum. What is therefore required is portion control. We must put an end to the supersized portions of food we consume and put an end to the need to eat until we have that full sensation. This is undeniably unhealthy. Outside of our individual efforts, the business community, especially the manufacturing sector, can further support the fight against diabetes by engaging in what I will call an out-of-the-box corporate social responsibility. Many manufacturers in the consumer industry sponsor walkathons and health fairs, but some of their products are far from healthy. Manufacturers in Trinidad and Tobago must come on board and adopt the global trend of reducing the sugar and salt content in their food products. In Trinidad and Tobago, we love those Siamese twins, salt and sugar, the destroyers of good health and healthy living. For example, Pepsi and Coca-Cola in those soda cans contain 9 teaspoons of sugar. How many of us here fall into the recommended daily amount of sugar, which is 25 grams for women? That is only 5 to 6 teaspoons, and 35 grams or 7 to 8 teaspoons for men based on an average diet. A reduction in calories in sweetened drinks impacts on type 2 diabetes and obesity. An excellent example of out-of-the-box thinking in corporate social responsibility is to be found in the United Kingdom manufacturer and supermarket chain Tesco, who has committed to reduce added sugars in their own label soft drinks by 5% per year. That means that after 4 years, 2 entire teaspoons of sugar would have been removed from 1 can of soft drink. This gradual reduction is the best way forward, as it will reduce sugars and empty calories being consumed by our societies. To those manufacturing firms in Trinidad and Tobago of sodas, juices, and cereals, I challenge you to come on board by way of voluntary affirmative action to incrementally reduce both the sugar and salt content in your products. If you are serious and genuinely supportive of good health and healthy lifestyle, do what must be done and is required, and do not force the authorities to legislate good health, much to your economic displeasure. For the sake of our children and for the sake of our future, I sincerely hope that this global initiative by food manufacturers of the incremental reduction of sugar and salt in our foods take root in our society. We are here in the presence of committed wise men and women with a deep, genuine philosophy of changing the mindset and inculcating in us all international best practices in the fight against diabetes and health-related issues. It is my esteemed pleasure to formally open this symposium and to spur on all participants to listen and learn from all these knowledgeable speakers who have willingly given their time and expertise to partake in the various discussion sessions. All the best in your endeavors, and thank you all very much.
And to Mrs. Carmona, but before it comes on stage, I would like to remind you that the symposium is on self-management and diabetes. It is easier than you think, and she made it very easy for you. We could all go home now. No? Yeah, she made it very, very easy for you. And the combination, the twins she talked about, you remember what the twins? Sugar and salt. Okay, and she talked about portion control. All right? I could tell you about that because I have to talk to some diabetics and they fill their plate with food. And each time I said, don't do that. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to eat a little bit, not all that. And lots and lots of rice. You know, so we need, as diabetics, we need to do quite a lot of stuff for self-empowerment, self-management. And the person who came up with the little anecdote below there, why it's easier than you think. When he said it, I said, I think people would like that, you know. Do you like that? It's diabetes, self-management is easier than you think? Do you think it's easy? Okay. The First Lady will take a leave in a little while, but I'd like to invite you to bring up the exhibits out in the front of the room here. Excuse me. You weren't dismissed. The Excellency has to leave first before you can go out. More corridors, please.
Step back there. gotta prepare it. You ever hear about your You know about it? No?